If you're going to be a good ball striker, you have to hit the ball, then the turf. And the key to this is controlling your low point. So I have this hula hoop here, and you see I have this piece of tape here on the bottom to demonstrate where the low point is. This is where the club comes down, reaches its lowest point, and then works back up. Your average tour player is going to have that low point occurring somewhere in front of the golf ball there, several inches. Now, that doesn't mean that the low point is occurring and they're hitting the turf where the low point is. They're actually hitting the turf where the ball is, and then that low point is occurring somewhere in the middle of that divot, and then it comes out after that. So when you look at players that are struggling with chunks, tops, thins, things like that, that low point where this tape is on this hula hoop is occurring at or before the golf ball. So if I come in and I chunk it, that low point's occurring before the golf ball, and I'm getting too much of the ground. If I thin it, I might be timing right when that low point is right at the ball, and I'm just grazing the grass there, and that results in that thin shot. And then the top shots where I get too much above the ground, the club actually works above the ball as it's coming through, and then I get that top shot. So if we want to hit really solid shots, we have to get that low point more forward. And the key to controlling that is something that we call on the website the compression line. This is one of the pieces of the top speed golf system. So what this is, it's a line that goes from our lead ankle, lead hip, and lead shoulder, and we want that to be all in a nice straight line here, and we want that to be vertical or slightly angled away from the target. Now for a driver, we can be angled away from the target. I've seen tour players that are as much as 8 degrees angled away from the target with this compression line at impact. Now they can do that with the driver because the ball is on a tee, it's elevated, the ground isn't in the way as much. We can actually have the low point. Ideally, we would have the low point before the ball and then hit up into the ball. That's going to allow you to hit it further, higher launch, lower spin, and things like that. But with shots off the turf with our irons, we have to hit down and through the ball because the ground is in the way. So we need to have that compression line more vertical or slightly angled away. So I have a great drill here that's very easy to do and allows you to get the feeling of having that compression line more forward. So first we need to set up a feedback mechanism. As you can see here, I've got some things on the ground. This tee here would be ideal if you're hitting off of real turf, right? So what you would do is you would place this tee even with your ball, and then after you hit the ball, you're going to have an indication of where your divot started in relationship to the golf ball. We want that divot starting at or slightly after the golf ball for this drill. Now, if you're hitting off of a mat like I am here, you want to use something on the ground to give you some feedback as well. So I have the speed trap here from Eyeline Golf. You don't have to use one of these. I just think this is the best thing to use when working on this drill because it's plastic and it's going to give you some good feedback. If I come in and I hit it, I'm going to feel it, I'm going to hear it, and it may even move on me, and it's going to give me some good feedback. You don't have to use this. If you want to pick one of these up, you can go to eyelinegolf.com and search Speed Trap on there, and you can pick yourself up one of these to use. Now, another thing you can use is a towel. So you can just place a towel, and the way that you position the ball for this drill is you just place it a little less than the club head width in front, right? So on the Speed Trap here, that's going to be somewhere between, there's some marks on here where you go full swing, pitching, and chipping. You know, it's going to be a little bit less than a club head width, but it's between the pitching and the chipping marks on here for this drill. So let me get my dot set up here. So what we're going to do to set up for this drill is we're going to preset that compression line forward. So I just want you to do some practice swings at first. I'll actually take the ball out of here. Do some practice swings at first. And what we're going to do is we're going to preset this up. So get in your normal setup as if there was a golf ball about a club head width in front of this. I'm getting my normal setup here. And then I'm going to preset my hip forward. So I'm going to get my hip a little bit in front of my ankle here. And I'm actually going to open up my body just a little bit. And then I'm going to get my shoulder, I'm going to feel like it's a little bit in front of my hips. And then I'm going to have my nose right down on top of where the golf ball would be. Now I'm just going to take some half swings here where I'm really focusing on hitting down and through and really trying to take a divot. And you're going to find that it's very, very easy to do this when your body's in this position. And you can notice here, pretty much all my weight is on my left foot here. I'm just on my toes of my trail foot. So I'm going to take a little half swing here. You can see how easy that is to hit down and through. So what I want you to do is hit some practice swings where you're taking that divot, you're feeling that divot starting in front of the plastic or the towel, or that divot, you're getting that nice deep divot in front of where the tee is if you're hitting off a turf. So once I'm comfortable with that, Now I'm gonna put that ball in here. And what I'm using here is just like an 8-iron. You can use really any club for this. The ball is gonna come out really low, so I suggest something like a mid to low iron when you're doing this. And I think you're gonna be surprised with just a half swing initially here of how solid you're gonna hit the shot and how low and booming it is. And this is what's really cool about this is you can use this shot if you get under trees or something, because you're gonna find how low this is going. So again, I'm gonna take my normal setup. I'm gonna shift my body forward a little bit and open up just a little bit, hip in front, shoulder in front, nose right down the ball. And I'm just gonna take like a little half swing here and really focus on hitting down and through in front of the ball. So here we go. So I thin that one just a little bit, and you'll find that. So what I would do is I would try this again, and you can see how low that came out. This is an 8-iron, and it launched at 12.3 degrees. So that's pretty dang low for an 8-iron. So I'm gonna try another one here. I'm gonna try to get one really, really solid. I felt the plastic here, and I just I cringed up a little bit, and I got that thin shot. I think I got my low point more forward. I just didn't come down and hit enough of the turf. So on this one, I may actually do some practice reps here where I'm really focusing on hitting down into it and really imagining that really deep divot that I would get when I'm doing this. So let's see if we can get a much more solid strike with this. So again, I'm gonna take my normal setup. I'm gonna get my body more forward, open up, all my weight on my lead side, just a half swing, trying to keep it there. I'm really gonna focus on hitting down and through the ball this time. So that one, much better. And you can see that's a little low laser. That's a half swing with an 8-iron. 8-iron is my 160 club. Half swing went 124 yards, launched really, really low, and a club head speed of only 67 miles per hour. Can't remember exactly how fast I swing my 8-iron normally, but very, very easy for me to get that kind of distance when I'm making really, really good contact doing this. So get a few good ones doing this where you're hitting down and through. And again, I think you're gonna be really surprised at how penetrating and how solid this feels. So now, once I've done a few of these, what I wanna do now is kind of replicate that same feeling in a normal swing. So I'm gonna take some practice swings here where I really try to replicate that same feeling of coming into impact where my body is more on top of my lead side and I have my nose right down on top of the golf ball. So I'm gonna take some practice swing where I'm really focusing on hitting down and through and getting that nice, good divot there. So let's step into this one. Let's see if I can hit a good one here. Make some good ball first contact and see what kind of distance I can get on this one. So I hit that one pretty solid. That's about as far as I can hit. I almost think that's a misreading. I don't think I've ever hit an 8-iron 178 yards, but really good launch. I got a really good launch on that one. Got my body forward really, really nice. On that swing there, I was able to get my path to be pretty close to 0. It's 0.3 into out, and that's ideal. But a lot of times when I see people work on this drill, what they'll actually do in an effort to get the low point more forward and get that divot down in front of the ball, what they'll do is they'll come down steep. So if you imagine this, if I were to swing 45 degrees to the left, my club, my low point is going to bottom out over here. If I swing 45 degrees into out on the other end of the spectrum, it's going to bottom out over here. So if you're someone who's struggling with shallowing out the club and you're struggling with the low point control, well, no wonder you're going to struggle with shallowing because that's just going to make you hit the ground even more before the golf ball. So now that we've got this compression line to be where it needs to be, now we can work on getting this club nice and shallowed out and squared up earlier, so that way we can hit really good golf shots like the tour players do. This is, the compression line, getting that ball first contact, that's the #1 key, but to take it to the next level and hit it like the tour players do, we got to get the club shallowing out, we got to get that face squaring earlier, so that way you don't have to make any compensations later in the swing that are unneeded, unnecessary movement, so that way you can hit really, really good compressed and consistent golf shots. So the best way to work on this is what we call the move on the Top Speed Golf website. And if you want to stick around and watch a preview of one of our best videos from the move, the tennis racket drill, Clay Ballard is going to go over that with you in just a second. But if you want to see the whole entire video, all you have to do is click the iCard that's going to pop up on your screen, or you can click the link in the description below. Play well.
Good player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it, the flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time, I'm going to be rotating.